And thank you to our musicians, the Texas Tech Jazz Quartet, under the direction of Stephen Jones, for setting exactly the right tone for our evening entertainment. Thank you. I think that if that's the case, I think that right tone is smooth and jazzy, and so that's what this crowd is, just by looking at you. The YWCA is proud to use March, Women's History Month, as a good time to stop and acknowledge women whose accomplishments and powerful contributions make the world and our community a better place. As a matter of fact, today, the actual date, March 3rd, over history has been a significant day for talented and determined women like those we honor tonight. On March 3rd, 1879, Belva Ann Bennett Lockwood was the first woman admitted to the bar of the U.S. Supreme Court. Yep. A year later, she argued a case before them. She lost the appeal, but the barrier had been broken. On March 3rd, 1879, Anne Sullivan, an educator, accepted what seemed to others was an impossible challenge and began teaching 6-year-old blind and deaf Helen Keller, who later inspired the world as an author, an advocate, and an activist. On March 3rd, 1913, Alice Paul and Inez Milholland led the suffrage movement's first national event, a march in Washington, D.C. of 5,000 suffragettes. As I understand it, it was very interesting reading about this. As I understand it, the march itself got a little dicey and encountered some problems, but it was a success in that the movement gained huge attention. Every civil rights marcher that has followed walks in those women's footsteps. We stand on the shoulders of those women. We celebrate them, and we celebrate our honorees tonight. For that and more, we all agree that we have much for which we are grateful in Lubbock, Texas tonight. To lead us in our invocation of sincere gratitude for those blessings, please welcome Reverend Paige McKay.
Let us pray. Almighty God, creator of the whole human family, we ask your blessing as we draw together for this evening of celebration. We thank the YWCA, Glenda and its staff, Linda and its board, and Carrie and its steering committee for opening their arms of leadership, service, and hospitality to those gathering here. Lord, you who give life, health, and safety, we pray for those who are affected by actions and activity in an uncertain world tonight. Keep them safe, Lord. This evening, may we be stirred by Comfort, Elizabeth, and Janice and their passion for preparing people for life. May we join with Beth in her desire to connect people with opportunity. May we be motivated by Melinda and her spirit of service. May you challenge us to step into our community and make a difference as Lynn has. May our hearts and our hands be energized by the powerful example of Dina. May we foster enjoyment and appreciation for the gifts of our creative spirit as Sandra does. May we have courage and conviction to lead our community through challenge as Catherine has. And may we accomplish all of this with the energy, attitude, and commitment of Ashby. We thank you for the model and spirit of these women, Lord. The gifts you have shared with each are abundant. Tonight, help us to remember that we walk in the steps of our mothers and our grandmothers, and we forge the path of our daughters and granddaughters. Open wide the eyes of our souls that we may see good in all things, and may our works find favor in your sight. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend McKay. Since 1956, the YWCA of Lubbock has been willing to tackle some of the most daunting challenges in our community. They have a legacy born from in the trenches impact that touches thousands of lives each year. Please welcome the chair of tonight's beautiful event and YWCA board member, Carrie Schoonveld.
Okay, how are y'all? So sorry, we're getting there.
We're all good. That's my fault. We're on page 10. There you go.
Got you. Thank you, Laura. And thank you all for joining us. On behalf of our YWCA board and staff, we are so grateful to everyone that makes this night possible, especially our sponsors, who are the key to this evening and the way we are able to support tonight's honorees. What I love about the sponsors who surround the YWCA is that they are actually our partners, and like us, they are driven by an unwavering commitment to this community. I would like to introduce you to Dr. Robert Iapolo, whose practice, Heal and Iapolo Oral and Dental Implant Surgery of Lubbock, generously steps up as our presenting sponsor and takes an active role in bringing this event to life. Please welcome Dr. Rob Iapolo.
Good to see you. Thank you, Carrie. At Hill and Iapolo, we are pleased to be able to support this particular program, honoring women who are determined and successful in their endeavors because of it. They create a vision of what's possible for our daughters and granddaughters. We are happy to join with the many other strong corporate citizens who reach out and support the YWCA's dedication to lifting others up. We know the YWCA has layered years of experience and service to this cause, and it is our privilege to raise our hands and say, we support your work, and we are happy to help you in this event to celebrate excellence and dedication. She's back.
Thank you, Dr. Iapolo, and I'm going to ask you to stay here with me for a second. In case you've never been to a Women of Excellence celebration, you may be surprised to learn that the YWCA has been marking this specific occasion since 1989. Diversity, equity, and inclusion are not new to us. If you look around the room, you see orange ribbons on lapels. These ribbons identify some of the women who have been honored in previous ceremonies. They are members of the Academy of the Women of Excellence, 291 women in all who represent quite an amazing legacy. You can see the full list of honorees in your program, and we specifically want to call the last 9 of the honorees of 2021 whose induction celebration was virtual. That's just not the same, right? But they took it like a woman of excellence would, with grace and humility. Still, I would like to call them to the stage for just a little better token of recognition than they had last year. Please welcome Norma Johnson, honoree in government in 2021 and executive director of United Sorghum Program. Stephanie Massengale. Yes, right here at the back. Honoree in business in 2021 and president of Advanced Graphics and the Matador Retail Store. Laura Monroe. honoree for the professions in 2021, and attorney with Brandon, Fielder, Collins, and Mott. Officer Caitlin Thompson, honoree in Human Services in 2021 and serves with the Lubbock Police Department. Elizabeth Regner Grisby, Patricia Frances Johnson, Glenda Gregson, Dr. Amy Thompson, and Grace Feist were also honorees in 2021, but unable to join us tonight. Let's all give them the applause that they should have gotten last year. Thank you all, ladies. They are trailblazers, women who do not wait for someone else to take action. Their work collectively is at the heart of the mission and vision of the YWCA, and we are thrilled to shine a spotlight on their work and commitment to our community. There is another special group that we would like to acknowledge. They are our future. Young ladies selected by their schools as the top senior girl to serve as a candidate for the Youth Leadership Award. Typical for our youth today, they could not all join us due to their rigorous schedules. But we are honored to have Courtney Gore from Friendship High School, Yasmin Musa from Talkington School for Young Women Leaders, and Ashby Whitaker from All Saints Episcopal School. Chloe Keenum from Lubbock Cooper High School and Ashlyn Wolf from Monterey High School were also recognized as top senior representatives. Congratulations to these young women and their parents. They have already accomplished some incredible work, and we will enjoy watching their impact to our future. Now, please welcome Laura Vinson back to the podium.
Thank you, Carrie. I'm so glad we got to recognize and celebrate our 2021 honorees. We're glad you're here tonight, and you are no less celebrated because we were virtual last year. We honor you, and we are grateful for you in our community. Now, however, we have the privilege to introduce you to the honorees of 2022. Inspiring stories of 10 of our community's strongest and most committed women. They are hard workers, committed to making life better for all. Warriors for whom failure is not an option. Our first group of honorees are community champions. They are dedicated to building up the community of Lubbock, and they prove unequivocally that one person can make a difference. I think you're going to love what you see. Let's get right to it.
You've really done a lot of work in the international arena. Tell us how you got involved in that.
So I loved politics and all of that kind of thing from a young age, actually watching The West Wing, the television show. My brother and I would watch it together, and we both got so invested in that kind of thinking and how all of those policies and everything like that played out. And so I got involved I started working with Representative Frullo and seeing how that kind of side of the government works. But then I kind of wanted to start looking for other opportunities because I loved volunteering teaching, and I loved that aspect of it as well. And so I really wanted to combine the two, and I kind of found that in international policy, international relations.
So tell me about the people in your life that have inspired you.
I mean, I have my famous people role models. So I have like Mother Teresa was always a huge influence on me because it was that aspect of religion that I had always grown up in, and it was that aspect of volunteerism and going away and doing things for communities that you have never been a part of. And so I always thought she was one of my greatest role models growing up, who I always wanted to be like, and I even did a project on her when I was in the 6th grade where I had to dress up like her. And so my other major role model is my mom, because this is all about women of excellence, and I definitely think my mom is the most excellent woman in my life. And I remember her staying up all night before that project that I had to do on Mother Teresa, making my costume, so I looked exactly like her. And so she's just always been there for me through everything that I've had to do. And she manages anything that I can't manage on my own, and she's just there for me no matter what.
Have you seen things in high school that bother you in terms of our own community that you wish you could fix?
There are so many issues within the community that I know that I could make such a big impact on. And I got to see most of the issues, the actual issues, volunteering at places like the Lubbock Dream Center, especially during COVID, because of how many more people were coming for the grocery bags that they had supplied, or the health checks that they have, or the clothes that they provide. And so especially during COVID, we just saw this influx of all these issues within our own community. And then working with Representative Frullo, I got to see a way that those things can be solved. And there's those hands-on experiences at the Lubbock Dream Center and Second Helpings Food Kitchen and the South Plains Food Bank that are really, you can see people getting into the nitty-gritty, doing the things that need to be done. And then I could see this big picture at Representative Frullo's office really working to solve the root causes of these issues.
In the face of a big challenge, what do you rely on?
In the face of a big challenge, I rely on exercise, strangely enough. Anytime that I have a big project coming up or a big deadline for whatever I'm doing, I go outside and I go on a run, and I completely organize everything that I'm thinking about for that project or for that deadline, and I like set up a list in my head as I run, and it just completely sets me at ease. And it's just a way for me to reset and refocus on whatever goal that I have.
The program tonight, the theme of it is all in: intensity, intention, and integrity. What do those words mean to you?
Well, they are definitely something that I hope to live my life by, and I hope that people, when they look at my life in 50 years, say that I lived my life that way, with intention, with integrity, and with all of those qualities that are just so important for a successful life. And I know that they are all about perseverance, and they are all about giving your all to everything you do.
Is there anything you'd like to say to anybody about the award, or anything else that you'd like to communicate?
Well, I mean, I would love to just thank everyone at my school and everyone who has pushed me to be where I am, and to thank all of the Lubbock organizations for the things that they do, because I have been so involved with the Dream Center and Second Helpings and the food bank, and I know how much good they do for our community. And so they deserve all the recognition they can get, because we need more people involved as well. And so I just want to thank them for everything that they've done for the community. And I especially have said many times throughout this process, but I want to thank my mom, because she has just been so influential in my life. And this award is as much hers as it is mine, because she volunteered every hour that I have. We are a mother-daughter team, so we go and volunteer together. And so every hour volunteer, anything that I've done in my life, she has been right by my side doing it with me. And I want to be just like her when I grow up. So I just want to thank her so much for everything she's done for me.
Nominated by All Saints Episcopal High School, the Woman of Excellence Award for Youth Leadership is Miss Ashby Whitaker. Introducing our honoree is Nancy Sharp, Woman of Excellence Academy member since 2013, and representing sponsor United Supermarkets. Presenting the award is Phoebe Ellis Roach, Woman of Excellence 2017.
Our Youth Leadership Award winner tonight is Ashby Whitaker, a woman of the universe, without a doubt. From athletic and academic excellence to international politics, band, music, and 430 hours of community service, she can do anything. And, did you believe that? She runs to reduce stress. That would not be on my list, and plays pickleball. As I struggle to make these comments in English, Ashby is working towards being trilingual, adding Spanish and the West African language of Hausa to her list of languages. Wow. So Ashby, on behalf of the 18,000 team members of United Supermarkets, congratulations on this very well-deserved award.
Tell me about a woman that has inspired you.
There's two women in my life that have always led me to do more. One, my mom, who raised 6 kids, has always been an inspiration to me. And I have 4, and I cannot even fathom adding 2 more. And Coach Sharp, Marcia Sharp, she has from the get-go just inspired me in so many ways. I mean, she was always involved in the community and always welcomed everybody. It was kind of an open book in the Lady Raider world, which was pretty cool because I know it's not like that everywhere.
The level of philanthropy that Carpet Tech gives back to the community is pretty phenomenal. Tell us about your thoughts on philanthropy.
We're blessed because of this community, and we would not be where we are today without everybody that has surrounded us. And so I think that's just something, like giving back to those that have done so much for us and helping this community thrive and grow.
Having been a co-owner of a business and seeing the ups and downs of business, what kind of counsel would you give to women who may want to be involved in their own startup?
No matter what in life you do, if it's business, it's raising a family, it takes a village. And I think people try to take on so much on their own that the biggest thing is don't forget those that surround you and don't forget those that have been in your shoes. Always go for advice, always take advice. There's so many amazing women in this town that have helped us, and that I can just say, okay, this is what's going on. What do I do? Or how would you handle it? And I think that's the biggest thing is sometimes we forget we don't have to do it by ourselves. I've always been a part of something positive, and people, again, that have surrounded me and have always been supportive. And so I think that's the biggest thing is if somebody can do that for me, why can't I for everybody else?
If you could wave a magic wand and solve some particular problem in the world or in our community, what do you think it would be?
I think our kids worry too much. I think a lot of the mental health, I guess, would be where I struggle. Like, I hate that for our youth, and I hate that for young adults too, to have to constantly worry about what's next instead of just being able to enjoy what's right now. So really, honestly, a little bit it would be mental health, because I think that so much more in the world with social media and just everything out there now that they have to deal with and hear and everything, and I just didn't have to do that, and so I wish they didn't have to either.
Tell us about any particular roadblock that you can remember and how you overcame it.
Being in women's athletics, I always thought, man, Coach Sharp I just always thought she was a boss, like she took charge and didn't let anything stand in her way. And I watched, and then I got to stay on staff, and I still could see a little bit of that. Like there was roadblocks for her, and she never let it stop her. And I think that is a huge for any woman to see. Like, you know what, you can do this. And so for me, that was kind of always my mentality, like that she always was in the back of my mind. Now, what would she do? Would she stop? Would she not do it because somebody told her she couldn't? And so for me, it's just perseverance. You know, like, well, if a man can do it or anybody else can do it, why can't I? I coached my son's basketball team when we were in middle school, and he was in middle school, and we won, and I thought, oh my gosh, not many moms probably would have done this, and I loved it, and it was an experience for both of us. But at the same time, I'm sure everybody was like, well, she doesn't know anything. But I think it's just inserting yourself in things that maybe somebody doesn't think you can do, but you have a passion for it, so why shouldn't you do it?
To date, what are you most proud of?
I mean, my family. I would have never imagined raising 4 kids and them being successful, happy, and thriving, and our business is up and running for 28 years now, which is wow. Would have never guessed we would probably be where we're at. And so to be able to have a business and to be able to do that with my husband and with our 4 children is pretty amazing.
Nominated by Linda Gaither and Emily Ratcliffe of Westmark Companies, the 2022 Mary Nell Strong Community Service Award is presented to Miss Melinda Ferries. Escorting Miss Ferries to the stage on behalf of Westmark Companies is Linda Gaither, Woman of Excellence 2006, and presenting this year's award is 2012 Woman of Excellence, Miss Emily Ratcliffe.
Come over here. Melinda, being a champion is in your DNA. You've been a champion for Texas Tech University, your family, your business, and the YWCA. You shine in every aspect of your life, and your competitive spirit shines too. And we are all the winners. You have modeled what you expected us to do. Very few words, very loud actions. In one of my favorite interviews, you explained that you were never starstruck because no one is better than anybody else. We're all the same. Well, sister, I gotta tell you, I've been starstruck by you since the first time I met you. Your generosity, your servant's heart, and that laugh that says, I love my life. That's the same kind of laugh that Mary Nell had, that giving, compassionate laugh. She's smiling and laughing with us right now. Melinda, we all want to be you. Congratulations.
Thank you. Love you. Oh, so precious. Look sexy.
Tell people why the Women of Excellence is so important to you.
The first time I went to the event, I was blown away by women supporting women. And in the generation that I came up in, women didn't always do that. And so this is the one event that women can actually come to, doesn't matter where you come from, what you look like. You're going to be embraced and loved and appreciated for who you are and what you've done. And so women need that more than ever. They need to know that they're valued, they're appreciated, to be empowered by other women, to be as successful as they can be. And
how do you encourage younger women that are coming up and want a big career?
I would say just apply yourself. Don't be afraid to go above and beyond. Don't look at your job description and say, okay, I can only do that. For me, I appreciate that some women don't feel it's okay to go get a cup of coffee for someone. I don't feel that way. I feel like you give 110%, you do what's not asked of you, go out and you do what's not asked. You just apply yourself. Don't be afraid to try new things and encourage other women behind you to say, you know what, you can do that. If I apply for a job and I don't get the job but another woman does, go and tell her congratulations. I'm going to help you be successful. That's what I would encourage other girls and other women to do today.
We've heard from many in these discussions that women tend to put a lot of pressure on themselves. And you seem like that would apply to you.
Because I don't want to let anyone down, but I honestly, I don't want to let myself down. I know what I'm capable of, and so I'm going to do what is the best. I'm not going to sell myself short and be anything less than the best.
As you've gone into the world of banking and progressed up that chain, I'm sure you've found some pushback, some roadblocks, some barriers along the way. What trait do you think helped you get through those things?
I have to say I am annoyingly optimistic. I always look for the good. Even if something bad happens, I'm positive, and I know that things happen for a reason, and it's a learning experience. I mean, if you get told no, you figure out why you were told no, and you try to go above and beyond on the next one so that you don't get told no on that one.
I know that you are aware that the theme of this evening is all in.
All in.
Integrity, intensity, intention. What do those words mean to you?
It means that you do your best. If you give your word, you live by that word. If you make a mistake, you own up to that mistake, you acknowledge it, you try to avoid making that same mistake. You're just honest, you're sincere, you're kind, you're compassionate, you're empathetic. It's all those things rolled up in one, and so I think that that would be it. I used to get up at 4 o'clock every morning and be at a restaurant to open the doors at a truck stop and work till 5 o'clock at night. And I would be the cook, the waitress, the dishwasher, you name it, I was that person. And even though I loved that job because I like to talk, I'm a talker, I knew that that's not what I wanted to do the rest of my life. I wanted to get into a job that I could, not that I wasn't proud of that, but I wanted my family to be proud of who I was. And so I wanted to work at the bank. I wanted to, for some reason, and I'm not sure why, the bank symbolized success. Even though it is successful for me today, but back then when I was 20, 21 years old, I'm not sure why that symbolized, but I will tell you that getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning every day and going 6 days a week was hard. And I guess I just didn't want to do that the rest of my life.
What's next for Lynn Sanderson?
Well, to be honest, I have to live up to the Jane Burns Award. Jane Burns, Marinelle Strong, Gail Spivey, Linda Greenstreet, all amazing women that I am now a part of, not only them, but the Women of Excellence. I'm now a part of this amazing academy, and I have to live up to that expectation.
Where do you look to for your personal power when you find yourself in the middle of some roadblocks?
My faith is where I get my inspiration from. I mean, honestly, I know and I visually see the Lord sitting next to me every day. And when I have a bad moment, I say, thank you, Lord, for sitting beside me. And when I have a good moment, I said, thank you, Lord, for blessing me. So my faith is my biggest strength. I can't imagine walking through this world without the Lord. When somebody walks in and sits down at my desk, I never know what kind of day they're going to have. But I know when they leave my desk, they're going to have a good time. Sitting at they're going to leave happy, if that makes sense. One person can make a difference, and it doesn't matter who you are or what you do, just be kind, and that does make a difference.
Nominated by the Board of Directors of the YWCA for her commitment and contributions to the YWCA since 2011, the Jane O. Burns Award is presented to Lynn Sanderson, escorted to the stage by Rob and Lori Iapolo, representing presenting sponsor Hill and Iapolo. The award is presented by longtime supporter and champion of the YWCA, Miss Jane Burns, Woman of Excellence, 2001.
Here we are. Following Carrie. On behalf of Hill and Iapolo, it is an honor to introduce Lynn Sanderson. As you can probably see from the video, she is so genuinely passionate about encouraging others, especially women and girls. It's impossible to be around Lynn and not feel encouraged and not feel her compassion. One of Lynn's unique contributions to the world may be the way she makes people feel. Maya Angelou once said, "Be the rainbow in someone else's cloud." You are a rainbow. It is an honor to award you with the YWCA Award. You exemplify all the women of excellence here. We are happy to be in your presence. The YWCA has greatly benefited from your consistent service and your advocacy for this organization and for women. Congratulations.
So tell me a little bit about being in horticulture as a major. That was kind of unusual.
It was unusual. I always thought I was going to be in business. That's what I had always thought. But then in high school, I was in FFA, and we had a greenhouse at our school at Seminole High, and the ag teacher there just made growing things really fun, and we grew a lot of different plants and had plant sales in the greenhouse, and I just fell in love with that. I worked at the Texas Tech greenhouse while I was going to Tech. I worked for a wonderful lady there, Judith Wilmington, who's passed away now, but I know she's looking down on me here going, wow, she did it.
Who inspired you in your life?
Several people, actually. I have to say my parents, they taught me to work hard. We were raised on a farm and had a ranch in New Mexico for a while as a family, and we just worked hard. That's what we do. My husband, Shelly, he's been an inspiration to me.
What do you love most about the museum?
You know, what I love most about the museum is no 2 days are the same. It's always changing. There's always someone new to talk to. There's someone new to tell our story to. Lots of people don't know our story, and they're really amazed that we started as just a collection of windmills, and it's grown to 66,000 square foot of space under roof and 28 acres.
You've mentioned that the Windmill Museum here in Lubbock is the largest in the world, and people don't know that.
It is. The Windmill Museum is the largest in the world, the largest windmill collection on public display in the world.
And why do you think the story about windmills is so important, that people need to know it?
I think the reason that people need to know the story of the windmill, especially for our area, goes back to water. Water is what developed this area. If we hadn't figured out that we could get water from underground with a windmill, this area would have never been developed. I want people to know about the museum. I think a lot of people here in Lubbock don't even realize what we have here in Lubbock. It's such a legacy for our area. We have visitors internationally come every year to visit the museum. The newest exhibit at the museum, the train display, I think that really tells the history of Lubbock, and lots of people don't even think about that that's how this area was developed, between the steam engines bringing people to this area, and the steam engines had to have water. So the windmills are what fed the steam engines. That the train exhibit that my husband and I volunteered to build at the museum, that really tells the story.
We've heard a lot about perseverance in the conversations. Who do you think helped you develop that particular skill?
I think growing up on the farm, it kind of gives you a different perspective on life, that you just, Dad always said, you know best. You know what you're supposed to do. Go do your best. And I would hear that in the back of my mind going, no, I'm not going to be put down because I'm female, because I do know what I'm saying, and you just do. You just keep persevering.
And the times where you felt like you're not sure where you're going, where do you get that strength?
You just turn it over to God. He's kept the path for me of, going from this to that to the next thing. That faith has really directed my path.
Nominated by Sharon Willingham, Carmen Harris, and Randall Terry, the 2022 Women of Excellence Arts and Culture Award goes to Miss Sandra Harris. Our honoree, sponsored by Ann McDonald and Star Care, is introduced tonight by Sharon Willingham, and presenting the award is Beth Lawson, 2011 Woman of Excellence.
I'm honored to be introducing this lady. I've known her for several years because my nephew had the good sense to marry her. She's wonderful. I watched her and Shelley put in countless hours volunteering at the American Windmill Museum. And at the time, I'm sure she had no idea, could never have imagined that she would be at the helm one day. In her position as executive director, I've witnessed her incredible vision, as well as her ability to quietly move mountains. The description, Steel Magnolia, that's her. It's my pleasure to introduce Sandra Harris.
you have a job that is typically held by men across the United States. Tell us a little bit about your career path.
It is an industry and a particular job skill set that women haven't typically broken into. We're starting to, and I was probably one of the first female property managers with the company that owns us. And I think when the job came open and I really looked and thought about it, prayed about it, I thought, why can't I do this? So I encourage, the young women that are coming up after us to, don't be afraid to take a risk, but also keep your heart and your spirit open, and don't let yourself be your own worst enemy or the reason why something if you don't take advantage of. Take advantage of it. You don't know. You don't ever know until you walk through that door. I think as women, or as human beings in general, man or woman, we want to perform to the expectations of others. And I think realizing that you need to be authentic to yourself and do what feels right to you may not always be easy, and you may not even really realize that you are doing something that someone else expects, but trying to take a step back in a deep breath and know that you need to be authentic and confident. And I think confidence is a big part of that. That comes, I think, with a little bit of tenure for some women, and it probably did for me too.
How would you advise someone to get involved in those kinds of positions? Because you got involved, but then you rose through those ranks. So just walk us through, what was involved in that?
I think many leaders in our community fall into that trap of saying yes to everything, thinking that will create opportunities, and it can, but you can also really burn yourself out. You can get very tired, and so you really have to prioritize the things that are most meaningful to you. And so I encourage young women who are looking at those leadership positions and pathways to leadership to really look at those positions that are going to mean something to them, and that is going to help develop not only themselves, but really create an impact. Because when you're passionate about something, about a particular organization or industry, then you put in the time and effort to that. If it's something that doesn't speak to you, it's not gonna be that priority for you. So it's okay to say no to some things. It's okay to say yes. So you have to find that balance and really find what resonates with you.
A lot of times when people see this program, they go, it was so inspiring to them. And so my question is, who inspired you?
My inspiration came early in my career, and I had some supervisors and bosses who allowed me the opportunity to step into leadership positions and believed in me and gave me the confidence to step out and do some new things. So I think that's important as a leader in my job and in organizations. It's important to bring up those that are coming up behind us and to build their confidence. And that is, I really feel like that is one of the most important things I can do.
What personal trait do you think you have that has allowed you to kind of keep trudging through?
I think the personal trait that has kind of given me the ability to stick with this is confidence and patience, maybe. I think, I don't know why I was chosen necessarily to lead some of these organizations, but I feel like it's because my heart is where it needs to be, and I think that hopefully comes across to those around me, and just being authentic and really wanting to do the best for my community. The group of women that I am now a part of is astounding to me, and I'm so proud and humbled to be a part of it. So thank you so much for this honor. I have to thank my family. I couldn't do the things that I do without their support and their complete understanding and willingness to help step in, step up when needed, and that even includes my high school son. So they have been so helpful and loving along this journey with me. And I also have to thank my work family. I couldn't do what I do either without trusting the staff that I work with and the team that I work with to let me be out and about and do these things. And Macerich, the company that operates the South Plains Mall, is just amazing in letting me do my thing out of the community. So I'm very, very proud to represent them and to work with them, and just very excited to be here.
Nominated by Melanie Reagan, Sharon Bass, and Laura Vinson, the 2022 Woman of Excellence Award in Business goes to Beth Bridges. Introducing our honoree is Mr. Ryan Henry on behalf of 34-year sponsor Allen Henry Insurance, and presenting the award is 2016 Women of Excellence Academy member, Miss Linda Greenstreet.
Beth, Linda and I are thrilled to honor you today. The Henry family has known Beth for over 20 years. Over her career, we have enjoyed watching Beth showcase her leadership abilities, all for the betterment of Lubbock. From the South Plains Mall to leading the Chamber of Commerce, to the Lubbock School District Board, a trustee, and also recently the LIPA Board. You truly are a leader. For better or for worse, Beth has served on on 3 different boards with 3 different members of the Henry family. We can all attest, when you have Beth on your committee, she will be a problem solver, she will be steadfast, and she will do it with a smile. Our mutual friend, Mitzi Signer, says, Beth commits daringly, cares deeply, and works diligently. To quote Superintendent Kathy Rollo, she leads with great compassion for others. Beth is such an inspiration. Congratulations, Beth.
As you can see, we have a lot of dedication and commitment in this room tonight. Ashby, Melinda, Lynn, Sandra, and Beth. And Ashby, we've got to talk. If only running and not chips and salsa and a margarita were my stress reliever, a lot of things would be different. So, we'll get together later. In addition to our honorees here tonight, we are very pleased to have many civic and community leaders in the room. Our state delegation are in Austin tonight, but Representative John Frullo is represented by Donna Corbin, who is here tonight this evening. We're glad, Donna, that you're here with us. And we would also like to recognize, and we would offer a big welcome to our fine mayor, Dan Pope, and our outstanding city council members who are here. Juan Chattis, Sheila Patterson-Harris, Randy Christian, Steve Massengill, Latrell Joy. I think Councilman Griffith was unable to join us, but we are grateful for your leadership and your service. Thank you for being here. Speaking of leadership and service and being talented and determined and committed and kind, please welcome Glenda Mathis, Executive Director of the YWCA of Lubbock.
Well, thank you, Laura, and thank you to each of you for joining us tonight and supporting our honorees and supporting the YWCA. You know, each day we are building on the YWCA's 65-year legacy of strong women and men who pour their heart and soul into this organization. They do so because of our community and their love for that and our mission of eliminating racism and empowering women. Decade after decade, this YWCA has stood in the gap and declared you can always make a difference, no matter how rotten or uncertain the world may seem. Our job is to remove the barriers wherever they show up, and then to find a way to say, let's roll up our sleeves and let's fix that. Of course, it's never easy with a mission like ours, but this organization was formed and it's been governed and sustained by a board of women over the years who were all in, willing to give and willing to serve, and as we said earlier, determined to leave an unquestionable legacy of commitment, of integrity, intensity, and intention. They don't get nearly enough recognition for the incredible amount of work they do for others and especially for the YWCA. So we asked them to do one more thing. We asked them to read a beautiful poem by Marian Wright Edelman and to explain their why for service. The result is a tribute to them, and I hope an inspiration and an invitation for each of you to join us in our quest to make Lubbock the best possible place in the world for our child or for our neighbors to fulfill in their unique gifts and talents. Here's our celebration of all of you who serve.
Lord, I cannot preach like Martin Luther King Jr.
or turn a poetic phrase like Maya Angelou.
But I care and am willing to serve.
I do not have Fred Shuttleworth's and Harriet Tubman's courage.
Or Franklin Roosevelt's political skills.
But I care and I'm willing to serve. I cannot sing like Fannie Lou Hamer or organize like Ella Baker and Bayard Rustin.
But I care and am willing to serve.
I'm not holy like Archbishop Tutu.
Forgiving like Mandela.
Or disciplined like Gandhi.
But I care and I am willing to serve.
I am not brilliant like Dr. Dubois or Elizabeth Cady Stanton.
Or as eloquent as Sojourner Truth and Booker T. Washington.
But I care and am willing to serve.
I have not Mother Teresa's saintliness.
Dorothy Day's love.
Or Cesar Chavez's gentle, tough spirit.
But I care and am willing to serve.
God, it is not easy, as the 60s, to frame an issue and forge a solution.
But I care and am willing to serve.
My mind and body are not so swift as in youth.
And my energy comes in spurts. But I care and am willing to serve.
I'm so young, nobody will listen.
I'm not sure what to say or do, but I care and am willing to serve.
I can't see or hear well.
Speak good English.
Stutter sometimes.
And get real scared standing up before others.
But I care and am willing to serve.
Lord, use me as you will to save your children today and tomorrow.
And to build a nation and world where no child is left behind.
And everyone
feels welcome.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we have 20 board members on the YWCA, and some of them were able to join us tonight, so please help me congratulate them and I want you to know these are my personal circle of women of excellence. And so, yeah, you can go ahead and go down. They came up. I didn't want them to stay. They are awesome, and there's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes from the Y, and it's because of them that we are been so successful. And so now, let me welcome back to the podium Laura Vinson. Thank you.
Wow, what a powerful piece that was. We need to run that on loop constantly. Very powerful. Thank you, ladies, for your service. The extra service you give each day. I know you've got full-time jobs. You are dedicated to your church, your children's schools, their lives. Thank you for getting involved and using all of your talents for good in our community. This is not in the script, and Glenda's going to get mad at me, but it's a good time to recognize the staff of the YWCA. Glenda and her team do important and hard work every day for the many families and our neighbors that they serve. So YWCA staff, wherever you may be, if you would stand up for just a hot second and let us thank you with our applause. Thank you for what you do. Now, our next group of honorees tackle diversity, equity, and inclusion with a laser focus on addressing specific issues that many of us never even have to think about, whether it's inclusion in the workplace, understanding the language around us, having access to essentials like healthcare and food, or recognizing the messages and policies that favor us for progress or failure. Let's continue recognizing and celebrating our Women of Excellence for 2022.
What made you go into special education in your original educational pursuit?
I was raised in Brownwood, and we had an elementary school, and next door was a little house. And the house housed all of the students who were handicapped or special needs. Now, if you can believe that, that's how it was when I was young. And so I would ask my mother, don't pick me up till late because I want to go over to the house and work with those kids and play with them. And so that's really my first inkling, but I didn't really realize what that was. When I graduated from Tech, I wanted to go into special education, but I started in general education. And it wasn't long until everybody was sending me their students that had special needs. And so I really enjoyed them. I like them. They're just a special breed of people. I work with helping people in the community promote our students with internships where they can go and work with a job coach and learn how to work. So from the time I started at the Burkhart Center in 2007 until this year, the attitude of the community is 100% different. Very accepting of these students. What concerned me when I taught elementary school and went to meetings, they were called ARD meetings, and where you talk about your special needs student. And one day, one of the parents said, well, I have a son that's older than the son here that's in elementary school, and he's going to be a senior this year, and he's special needs. And I have no idea what's next for him. And I said, what do you mean? And she said, I mean, when he's out of school, out of the public school, we're done with resources that are available to us. So it made me think, that's true. What's next for those kids? So that was kind of the idea that we got started. What kind of internships would we get for them that would help them learn a trade, help them learn a skill? And I tell employers, you're going to get a great worker who's loyal, who doesn't gossip, because that's not their nature to care about what John and Tom did last night. They just don't care. They're focused on what they're doing. It's really important for them to go out and show, here I am, here's what I can do. I've been trained, I have my manners, I have my hygiene, I know everything that I need to know except what you want in the job, and I'm going to learn that for you.
The theme for tonight is all in.
Yes.
Integrity, intensity, intention. Do those words resonate for you in your own life?
I think all of that is super important because we are trying to raise a generation of adults who are going into the workforce and going to contribute to society, and hopefully are going to have a life like everyone else can have. They're not going to be sat in the corner and ignored, or someone's not going to say, well, he's kind of odd, or you notice his shoes aren't right. All of that is not important. What's important is for these students to learn to fit in as best they can and then to contribute, because they've got so much to contribute, such high intelligence. They have so many skills that are just untapped. They're a whole untapped group of people that are sometimes just left out, and it's not smart of us to do that. My family life has been very good. I've been very blessed with good health as well. And I guess the person that I really need to look to after my family is Jerry Lynn and Jim Burkhart, because they came up with the idea of this many years ago, and because they needed to educate people about what a struggle it was for them with their grandson when not much help was out there. And so they created this center, they've endowed it, they've been just absolutely wonderful. And without it, I wouldn't have a job. Those students that we've helped would not be helped to the degree they've been helped. So they've been a wonderful part of my life. And then, of course, I have a wonderful team of people that some of them have been with me 8 or 9 years. These are dedicated people that went the extra mile. If I said, you know, so-and-so doesn't have a pair of pants to wear, somebody said, I'll get them. I mean, we understand that we all have to be in together to help these kids. So I've been truly blessed to have great people that were all in for this. They didn't just say, you're on your own, we're not going to do much. They were all in, and they've been wonderful. So I've got a lot of people to thank, and I'm sure I've left some out. I've enjoyed all the teaching I've done and all the places I've been and all the people that have helped me along the way.
Nominated by Rachel Harmon, Susan Volin, and Dr. Jesse Mendez, the recipient for a 2022 award in education is Janice Magnus. Introducing our honoree is Rachel Harmon, and presenting the award is Laura Monroe, Women of Excellence 2021.
Once in a lifetime, a teacher comes across our life's path and transforms us. That teacher believes in us and causes us to believe in ourselves even more than we ever could. That teacher helps us to learn how to learn, and that teacher loves us and cares for us. And when that happens to us, and I know all of you can think of a teacher like that, their name is permanently and indelibly put in our hearts and minds forever. Janice, there are probably countless, not probably, there are countless students in the South Plains, all over the state, and probably the country, who have your name indelibly in their hearts and minds for the difference you've made in their lives, and because they are better people today because of that. So on behalf of those students, and on behalf of your precious family who shared you with us for all these many years in education, and for all the people that watch you work day in and day out and see the good work that you do, I congratulate you. This is a well-deserved award.
Thank you, Rachel.
You know, I have dedicated my career to emphasizing the importance of the study of foreign languages and cultures. Because, you know, we miss out on a whole lot in life if we do not know other languages and cultures.
I read in one of the letters of recommendation that the person really had no confidence until they met you. How did you get that skill?
It's what I call it faith. My children and my parents were people of great faith, and they taught us, they instilled that in us, and because of that, I am not afraid to do anything, and I just move. And you know, I really believe that greater is He that is in me than he that is in the world. So I have no fear, and that translates into the confidence that is seen. And I tell the students, you are a lot stronger than you know. You know much more than you think.
The theme for tonight is all in. Integrity, intensity, intention.
Yes.
Do those words, how do you use those words in your life?
I am so determined that I will continue and find other ways of doing things until I reach the goal. I was hired once at a university to develop a Spanish program they had some classes, but it was not really a program. So I went there and I was so excited and motivated and started speaking Spanish, and the whole class would be in Spanish, and let's get excited. And I think it was just the next day, my second day there, I was on the front page of the school newspaper. They did not want the Spanish.
But that had to have been a very difficult moment.
Yes.
That day when you open the paper and there you are, front and center, and hurt your feelings and all of those emotions that people have. How did you get through that?
Those emotions are great because that's where that's where you just jump from, because the emotions have to be there to make you jump. Otherwise, you think it's smooth and you are just going to walk. Let me just walk, and it's so comfortable. Something happens and then you jump. That's what it was. You actually have a choice. Either you jump or you fall flat on the ground. And I always choose to jump. So I said, we're going to have a club. I started a club. We would sit there and sing Spanish songs and eat, Spanish food and, Hispanic, traditional dishes. And I would bring somebody dressed in a traditional. How do you do that? They were asking, how do you sew this? And how do you, they got so excited. They didn't want to stop. So the club did very well, and won awards and all that.
So if you had a magic wand and you could solve any problem in the world, what would it be?
I cannot stand violence. I don't see why we can't love each other. You just look at another human being and you think you can even hit the person or do something to hurt the person. It just disturbs my peace. When I was a little girl, I used to run to my parents whenever I had a problem with someone, and I would go and talk about all the bad things they did to me, and my parents would look at me like how you're looking at me, and then they would ask me, and what did you do? And what did you say? And I would just go away feeling so defeated. I said, why are they asking me? They should go and take care of them out there. After some reflection, over, some years, I realized that they were teaching me a very important lesson. They were asking me that because what is important is what I do.
Nominated by Texas Tech University Alpha Pi Chapter of Sigma Delta Pi National Collegiate Hispanic Honor Society, we celebrate Dr. Comfort Pratt as a 2022 awardee for her work in education. She is introduced by Mitzi Zegner on behalf of the TTU School, and the award is presented by Miss Margaret Randall, Woman of Excellence 2007.
Good evening. Well, Dr. Comfort Pratt may be an internationally known linguistics professor, but to many, including me, she's also known for her great sense of style. A style that brings contagious enthusiasm and charisma wherever she goes. A warmth that helps everyone who she interacts with know that they have a seat at the table. A genuine love for students and a deep care for their success, and a love for all things Red Raider, including wearing red high heels most days except for tonight. She's opted for the sparkly gold. She serves as a program director at Texas Tech, and I had the great joy of working closely with her when she was served as the chair of our executive committee on the Texas Tech Teaching Academy. She's the director of 4 study abroad programs, and her work has forever expanded the knowledge and changed the trajectories of the students that she works with. We are so honored and so proud of you. Comfort, congratulations. Thank you.
did you get into this particular career?
I actually really didn't know what I wanted to do. Really had a hard time in high school. Went to college, had no clue what kind of career direction I wanted, and came out of college, actually applied for a temp position in Washington, D.C., and I ended up being the executive assistant to the editor for the Surgeon General's report on oral health. So it was this fantastic first job at the National Institutes of Health in Bethesda. I got to work directly with Surgeon General Satcher, really got to learn about public health for the first time, and met lots of fascinating people. It's a challenge, definitely being a woman in that leadership arena. Most of the health department directors are male, and really trying to bring a women's perspective and kind of bringing in all of my knowledge and background, and trying to bring that knowledge to the table when we're really working to influence not just local policy for public health, but focusing on state and even national policy and how we should move forward and how we should help local health departments grow.
What is it that people don't understand about public health?
Public health is really about bringing the community together and working to improve our overall health. We're not wanting to address individual health. That's what our doctors and clinics are for. We want to look at health outcomes of, why we might have high rates of obesity or high rates of asthma in our community, and what kind of things can we put in place to help people live healthier lives. The vaccine rollout is one of the best accomplishments of our public health department during this pandemic. The mayor was a great advocate for getting vaccine in our community. Then we have an awesome team in public health emergency preparedness. City management was giving us any of the resources we needed. Lubbock Fire and Rescue stepped up to provide us staff. The police came in to provide us, crowd control, traffic direction. I mean, it was just so many, and then volunteers. We had so many volunteers that came in, and it was just such a wonderful, heartwarming experience. And working with the public and being able to walk around and lead that clinic really is one of the best parts of my career.
So you strike me as someone who's found her passion.
Yeah, just feel very blessed that I have found that niche, really figured out what I think I need to do to change this world or to improve my community. And it's not something that came overnight. It was a lot of tears, a lot of hard work, a lot of days going, I don't know what I'm doing. Am I doing the right thing? Am I pursuing the right areas? A lot of doubt. Just really have some strong friendships and lots of supportive people around me, and I'm so thankful for them because they've allowed me to kind of overcome some of my internal fears and really, just really come out of my shell and really be out there to change the world. My mother's going to be there in the audience, and she was a single mom, and she raised 3 amazing daughters, and she put herself through graduate school and, worked in the hospital long nights, missed lots of Christmases and Thanksgivings, and, I'm glad to live up to what she did.
Can you speak to the young women in the audience who may not be thinking that they've found their spot yet?
I think you have to figure out who you are yourself and figure out what you want to do and be happy with that and being willing to take those little steps. You're not going to walk into a director's job. You're not even going to walk into a manager's job most of the time. You're going to be, that entry-level person. I started as an admin assistant. I'm so thankful for living in Lubbock during this time. I know so many health department directors that have been pushed out or, quit their jobs out of frustration through the COVID pandemic. And this community has stepped up and supported me. Management supported me, my family, my friends. My husband's here tonight. I mean, he's been an awesome supporter. I've been working 80 hours a week, and he's the one that's out there, raising our 2 daughters, making sure they eat dinner and doing all of those things. But, I'm just thankful that I was in this community at this time.
Nominated by the City of Lubbock, the 2022 Woman of Excellence Award in Government goes to Ms. Catherine Wells. She is introduced by Dr. Lori Rice Spearman, President of the Texas Tech University Health Science Center and Woman of Excellence 2012. Presenting the award is Dr. Cynthia Jumper, Woman of Excellence 2007.
Catherine, on behalf of the citizens of Lubbock, Texas, it is our honor to present to you the Government Award for the Women of Excellence of 2022. I want to share with you that in 2020, our city, our state, and our nation was faced with an unprecedented challenge. And during unprecedented times, leaders rise. And that's exactly what Catherine Wells did. With courage, conviction, integrity, and in transparency, she led our community and she made sure that we were safe and we were healthy. We are grateful for the leadership of Catherine Wells.
What's been your biggest surprise in the last 12 months?
The pandemic, obviously. I mean, nobody had a playbook for it, so we were truly making things up and adapting, becoming an adaptive leader for sure. Understanding that we were essential personnel, but we still had families at home that we were caring for, that we were scared for. A lot of us had families that we couldn't get to, and therefore we were separated by distance. And so that was probably the biggest surprise is just the pandemic and how fluid we all had to be.
Do you think that hunger in Lubbock is something that the average person understands?
No. Hunger is, I didn't understand it until I became really involved with the food bank. Hunger has many faces. You know, it truly is the child tugging on the apron strings of a cafeteria worker wanting just a little bit more spaghetti. Truly is your family that cannot provide because they've been laid off of their job, either due to COVID or some other circumstance. It is your senior citizen that is having to make decisions. Do I get my medication this month or do I get food? And a lot of times these senior citizens are raising children in the household, but it's also our World War II vets that have served this country and now are on a food assistance program with us.
What do you attribute to putting you into this service-oriented space? What personality characteristic kind of drives you?
Well, you have to have grit, as you know, to work in nonprofit. It is not for the weak. And so I think what I really enjoy doing most, my strength, is I like connecting people to a mission and to a cause. And I think there's just so much power in a group of people coming together for the common good.
What did you take away from being the only girl in your family?
Being raised with boys really taught me there's no limits. And I think the limits we place on ourselves are done by us internally and not necessarily by someone outside. So growing up with brothers, I was very aware of that. If I wanted to play with my brothers, then I had to pull my own weight. There was no complaining. There was, of course, they said there was no crying, although now raising girls, they understand that emotion is good, not only for women to express, but for men to express as well.
Tell me about other pieces of advice you might give to young women who are watching or listening and wanting to be exactly where you are?
The best thing anyone can do, but especially young women, is to really identify your own passions, your own strengths, and then tap into those and understand that you're not going to be good at everything. That, God made us different for a reason, and that once you identify your strengths, then your shortcomings is not necessarily a deficit to you. It means you should seek out other people and surround yourself with people that have your shortcomings as their strengths, and that we're all really in this together and we're better together. So that's probably the biggest thing. The other thing I always advise young women on is self-care. Women do not practice this enough. We think we can do it all, and I think it is really a disservice to us that we matter, and we simply cannot care for as many people we do in our lifetime. We can't care for others until we really take care of ourselves.
Where do you find the inspiration and the energy for innovation?
I think it comes with a good sense of business. You have to run a nonprofit charity as business. We are in the business of serving others, but we conduct ourselves to practice good business at all times.
Tonight's theme is called All In: intensity, intention, integrity. Do those words resonate with you in any particular way?
Absolutely, and I think every woman receiving this award has really proven herself to be all in at various points of her life. All in to me, nonprofit-wise, means that we become servant leaders, and that our intention is to serve others before we serve ourselves. And that's certainly what we are doing at the South Plains Food Bank.
Nominated by the South Plains Food Bank Board of Directors, the 2022 Women of Excellence Award in Human Services is presented to Ms. Dina Jeffries. Introducing the honoree is Diana Tatum, Woman of Excellence 2012, representing sponsors Sanford and Tatum. Presenting the award is Linda Ferguson of Westmark Companies and Woman of Excellence 2018.
Sanford and Tatum is both humbled and honored to be the sponsor for this award. Dina has dedicated her life to serving the needs of others. She's like the champion of nonprofits. I mean, this lady has personality. She's like amazing, gifted, and she's just like somebody you've got to meet. So help me congratulate Dina Jeffries, CEO of the South Plains Food Bank.
I have 5 brothers. I'm the only girl. And I think from a very young age, I was like, why are the boys allowed to do this and I'm not? Despite the fact that my parents did do a really good job of, trying to be equal as possible, but the rest of society isn't. And so very early on, I started noticing patterns with the folks around me, with, even in school and sports. Once you start looking at one dimension of inequity, you start seeing many other dimensions. And so, of course, it's not just gender. It's racism, it's heterosexism, it's able-bodiedism, and so I think sometimes the pushback comes because people just don't realize the ways in which they've benefited from these systems, and or even if they haven't benefited from the systems, they haven't really acknowledged the ways in which, the world is set up to help certain people and not help other people. So my advice to young women who are active in social justice and other, activism and in the work world is a quote from Alice Walker, which is, the most common way people give up their power is to think they don't have any. And I repeat that multiple times, like in fact, almost daily. And my students hear it every semester because I think it's a powerful reminder of how much, individual people can change the world, actually.
What is your best piece of career advice for young women today?
Progress over perfection. And we know that a lot of women, young and mid-aged and older women, struggle pretty intensely with perfection. It has to be perfect, and so that stymies them and they don't keep going. So that's probably for young women in particular, it is to just keep moving. It doesn't have to be perfect.
Has anyone ever given you a piece of advice that you've used for your career?
A piece of advice that I was given by my dear colleague and friend, Maria Bermudez, was err on the side of connection.
And what does that mean to you?
That means giving people the benefit of the doubt, realizing that everything is about relationships. Like everything, at the end of the day, is about the relationships that we cultivate, that we nurture, and every moment matters, and every person that comes into your workplace and your life is valuable.
Do you think there are any challenges that young women face today that are different from the ones that you faced?
One huge thing is the digital presence, the having to brand yourself, having to engage in multiple forms of media. I feel like that's just a lot of pressure on these young women to perform in those ways too that I didn't have.
This is your point to tell people about your work and why you're so passionate about it.
At the end of the day, it's our ideas and how we think about things, how we think about gender, how we think about race, we think about class, how we think about sexuality really does matter, and it influences how we behave and how we think about ourselves and the expectations we set for ourselves. And so I think that's why I just have a fire in my belly, and I have for a long time. This award is such an honor, but it's also been very difficult to accept. And one of the reasons it's difficult to accept is because we know that social justice work is the work of many, not an individual. So the award really goes to all my students, my colleagues, my staff members, my friends, and my family members who've worked side by side with me. This award has special significance to me because my devoted mother is also a YWCA Woman of Excellence. I am humbled by this award, but also emboldened to carry on the work that so many other brave people who fought sexism, racism, heterosexism, and ableism. In this moment, I am reminded of the ethos of Harriet Tubman and her colleagues, lifting as we climb. I'm reminded of all those who lifted me to this podium tonight as I remain committed to lifting others.
Nominated by the Texas Tech University Women's Full Professor Network, the 2022 Women of Excellence Award in Social Justice is presented to Miss Elizabeth Sharp. Introducing the honoree is Wendy Adele Humphrey, Woman of Excellence 2020, on behalf of sponsor Texas Tech University College of Human Sciences. Presenting the award is Dr. Eliza Wong, Woman of Excellence 2018.
Well, I don't know about the rest of you in the room, but I've cried almost like 6 times, 7 times, however many honorees there are tonight, right? Oh. So I first would like to start by congratulating all of tonight's award recipients, because I sit back and I am truly in awe of you. Thank you for all of your contributions. But last and not least, it is my sincere honor to introduce to you Dr. Elizabeth Sharp. Esteemed professor, director of Women and Gender Studies, impactful leader with a passion for equity and inclusion, a change agent, a loving family member, a loyal, authentic friend, a social justice advocate. These are just some of the roles and titles that I think of when I think of Dr. Elizabeth Sharp. And she fulfills all of these roles with grace, with professionalism, and with integrity. One thing about Elizabeth, when she sees an issue that needs to be addressed, she tackles it. She is truly all in. Or taking something from another speech, she has a fire in her belly and she tackles it. So with that, congratulations, my dear friend. You are a fierce badass. Like all of the other recipients tonight. You inspire me, and you inspire all of us in the room. Thank you. And I know Elizabeth wanted to say a few words, especially since her mother is present in the room as a previous recipient of this very important award.
Okay. Thank you for this great honor, which is also a great challenge. As I reflect upon it, it is clear to me that this award is aspirational. Because being a woman of excellence, especially for social justice, requires a lifelong commitment. If I am really to be deserving of this honor, as we all know, the work of social justice, unfortunately, is never ending. Thanks to all of you, and especially my family, who came from Pennsylvania to be here tonight. My dear friends, colleagues, and students, you have gotten me this far, and I know that you will remain by my side as I try to live up to the ideals of this award. I promise you all, my work is not done. Thank you.
Ashby, Melinda, Lynn, Sandra, Beth, Janice, Comfort, Catherine, Dina, and Elizabeth. Integrity, intensity, intention, they are all in. What an inspiring group of women. Congratulations to all of our honorees and to the companies and the individuals that took their time to recognize their contributions. As we close out the evening, let's have all of our honorees stand, and while you are standing, after you stand, then make your way to the stage for your group photo. So stand and let us honor you one more time. Now, while they are doing that, hear this. It's not too early to submit nominations for the 2023 awards. You can download forms at the YWCA website, where we all need to visit frequently just for our own personal edification and to learn some things. While you are there, look around at all the ways you might get involved. So, now, I've got an announcement. I've seen you looking at them all night long. Yes, there are beautiful flowers at your table. The flowers are from the House of Flowers and lovingly assembled by the clearly multi-talented YWCA Board of Directors. They would like to share them with you. For our honorees, the entire centerpiece is yours to take home. For the rest of you, it's a free-for-all. We suggest perhaps, that you select the person whose birthday it is most closely to tonight's date. That was a horrible way to say that. Do whatever you want to, but don't take the tall ones. Sorry if you're at a tall table, Mayor, sorry. So leave the tall ones, take the short ones, and just figure it out. But mainly, nominate someone next year and come back. Come back to this event. What an extraordinary event of celebrating women and citizens in Lubbock and things that make us strong and good. So it has been my honor to be with you tonight and celebrate these women. On behalf of the Board of Directors and the staff of the YWCA and the entire Women of Excellence Committee, thank you for joining us. Travel home safely. Come back next year.